The universe is a vast, silent ocean, teeming with life. But here is the thing about life in the galaxy. It is fragile. Most civilizations evolved on garden worlds, planets with low gravity, thick protective atmospheres, and stable climates. On these worlds, evolution is a gentle dance. It favors the elegant, the intellectual, and the delicate. But there are exceptions. There are planets that the Galactic Council marks on their star charts with deep crimson warning beacons. Restricted zones. Places where evolution was not a dance, but a brutal billion-year war for survival. They call these places death worlds. High gravity, volatile tectonics, predatory pathogens. And of all the death worlds ever catalogued, one stands out. A blue marble orbiting an unstable yellow dwarf star in the most hostile sector of the Orion arm system. Sol. Planet 3. The galaxy prays that nothing ever leaves that gravity well. But prayers sometimes go unanswered. Today on Apex Sci-Fi, we are telling the story of the day the universe realized it made a mistake. The day a salvage crew found a relic from Earth. If you have the guts to find out why aliens are terrified of our biology, hit that like button right now. It helps the signal reach more survivors. Subscribe and activate the bell, because the quarantine is about to be breached. Let's enter the void. Chapter 1. The Anomaly. Captain Zalara floated effortlessly across the bridge of the salvage vessel Glimmer. She was a Corton, a species built for grace. 4 slender arms, hollow bones like a bird, and skin that shimmered under the soft UV lights of her ship. In the standard galactic gravity of 0.4 g, she was elegant. On Earth, she would be crushed under her own weight instantly. Report, Zalara hummed, her voice melodic. We picked up an ancient distress beacon, Captain, Officer Vex replied from the sensor station. Sector 9. It's primitive tech. Chemical combustion engines and raw, unrefined alloys. Zalara's large black eyes narrowed. Raw alloys. Who flies chunks of heavy metal in deep space? The fuel costs alone would be astronomical. Bringing it into the cargo bay now, Vex noted. As the object was pulled in by the tractor beam, the entire Glimmer shuddered. The object was a brick. A rectangular, scarred coffin of titanium and steel, covered in burn marks from atmospheric entry. Painted on the side, in peeling white paint, were glyphs the translator struggled to read: UNSC, Escape Pod 419. The salvage team descended, wearing full environmental suits. To a Corton, a speck of dust could cause a fatal allergic reaction. They approached the metal beast cautiously. Vex, run an internal atmospheric scan, Zalara ordered. Vex raised his scanner. A second later, the device screamed with a red alert tone. Vex scrambled back, nearly tripping over his own long legs. By the stars! Vex gasped. Captain, the atmosphere inside. It's a chemical weapon. Lethal levels of nitrogen. And oxygen. 21% pure oxygen. That gas is highly corrosive. One spark and that pod turns into a bomb. What kind of organism breathes rocket fuel? Zalara felt a chill ripple through her exoskeleton. Is there a bio sign? Yes, Vex stammered, looking at the data pad with horror. One life form. In cryostasis. But the readings are broken. The bone density. Captain, this thing's skeleton is made of compressed calcium and carbon composites. It's nearly as hard as our ship's hull. And the internal artificial gravity of the pod, it's set to 1 g. Silence fell over the cargo bay. 1 g. It was a death sentence. A gravitational force so oppressive it would liquefy a Corton's internal organs in minutes. Open it, Zalara whispered, morbid curiosity overriding her survival instinct. Containment level 5. Do not let that atmosphere leak. They didn't realize they weren't opening a rescue pod. They were unsealing a monster's cage. Chapter 2. The Awakening. The thawing process was violent. The pod hissed, venting gases that the ship's computer classified as Class A toxins. The lid didn't slide open smoothly. It jammed. From inside the mist, a hand shot out. It wasn't a hand designed for manipulating touchscreens. It was a claw of flesh and bone. Thick fingers, scarred knuckles, covered in fine hair. The hand gripped the edge of the jammed steel door. With a sickening screech of tearing metal, the creature ripped the door off its hinges and threw it onto the hangar floor. The impact dented the deck. The creature sat up. Commander Jack Miller, United Nations Space Command. He gasped, sucking in the thin air of the hangar. To the aliens, it sounded like an industrial vacuum pump. Where? The creature spoke. The sound was a low-frequency rumble, a growl that vibrated in Zalara's chest cavity. Where the hell am I? He looked at Vex. Vex stood 2 meters tall but weighed 40 kilograms. Jack was shorter, compact, but he was a block of solid muscle density. Jack tried to stand. He pushed off the pod. Used to Earth's crushing gravity, his push was too strong. He launched himself into the air, hitting the ceiling lights with his head, shattering them, flipping, and landing on his feet in a crouch. Low grav, the human muttered, shaking off a blow that would have shattered a Corton skull. Great. My muscles are gonna atrophy. I am Commander Miller, the human announced, staring at the fragile gray aliens pointing trembling energy wands at him. Does anyone have food? I could eat a horse. The translator malfunctioned at horse, but interpreted it as large beast of burden. The crew was paralyzed. This thing wanted to consume a beast? They escorted him to quarantine, not to protect him, but to protect the ship from him. Chapter 3. Poison and Caffeine. The medical analysis of Jack Miller became a horror story for the ship's doctor, Dr. Plim. Captain, Plim whispered, his skin pale. His biology is offensive. His mouth is filled with bacteria that could necrotize our flesh. His stomach contains acid with a pH of 1.5. He could dissolve zinc. And his blood. His immune system is hyper-aggressive. It doesn't just fight infection, it seeks and destroys. He is a walking biological weapon. Meanwhile, inside the cell, Jack was bored. He had retrieved his survival pack. He pulled out a silver wrapper. A ration bar. As he peeled it open, the sensors screamed, "Warning! Toxic compound detected." "What is he holding?" Vex asked. "Chocolate," Jack mumbled, taking a bite. "Stop!" Dr. Plim shouted over the intercom. "That contains theobromine. It's a potent neurotoxin. It will stop your heart." Jack chewed, swallowed, and grinned, baring his flat, grinding teeth. "Yeah, it's good stuff." Then, he poured a dark liquid from a flask. Coffee. To the plant-based aliens, the smell of caffeine was the smell of pure, concentrated insecticide. Plants on Earth evolved caffeine specifically to kill insects. Jack drank the poison. He sighed with pleasure. "How?" Zalara whispered, watching the screen. "How does a species survive ingesting poison for recreation? How do they survive their own planet?" She pulled up the data on Earth. Solar radiation. High. Temperature variance. Extreme. Fauna. Apex predators everywhere. History. 10,000 years of constant warfare. They don't just survive, Zalara realized. They are forged by it. They are the ultimate survivors. But the crew of the Glimmer was about to learn that humans aren't just survivors. They are defenders. Chapter 4. The Boarding Party. The proximity alarm cut through the silence. It wasn't debris. It was the Crawl. The Crawl were the scourge of the sector. Massive, insectoid pirates with chitinous exoskeletons and heavy plasma rifles. They preyed on salvage ships. "Shields failing," Vex screamed. "They are boarding." The Glimmer had no soldiers. The crew huddled on the bridge, terrified. The airlock blasted open. 3 Crawl warriors stomped in. To a Corton, a Crawl was a tank. Indestructible. "Surrender," the Crawl leader clicked. "Submit and you will be sold as livestock." Captain Zalara fell to her knees. It was over. But then, a noise came from the corridor. Thump, thump, thump. Heavy, rhythmic impacts. Jack Miller had heard the alarm. And for a human, an alarm triggers a chemical cocktail that the rest of the galaxy lacks. Adrenaline. Jack appeared in the doorway. He wore no armor. Just his tank top and cargo pants. But he looked bigger. His muscles were swollen with oxygenated blood. His pupils were dilated. He was vibrating with kinetic energy. The crawl laughed. "What is this soft pink thing? Kill it." A plasma bolt hit Jack's shoulder. On a Corton, the shock of the burn would shut down the nervous system. Jack stumbled back. He looked at the smoking burn on his skin. The pain didn't stop him. The pain woke him up. He looked at the pirates and bared his teeth. Not a smile. A snarl. "Is that all you brought?" Chapter 5. The Apex Predator. What happened next defied the laws of biology as the crawl understood them. Jack moved. In the low gravity of the ship, unencumbered by Earth's crushing weight, he was a blur. He closed the distance instantly. The first crawl raised his rifle. Jack didn't dodge. He grabbed the rifle barrel. With a twist of his hips and a roar of exertion, Jack snapped the alien alloy weapon in half. The crawl shrieked in confusion. Jack delivered a punch. Human combat is based on kinetic linking, generating force from the ground up. In low gravity, Jack was a cannon. His fist connected with the crawl's indestructible chitin armor. Crack! The armor shattered like glass. The pirate was launched backward, flying the entire length of the hallway and embedding himself in the metal bulkhead. The second pirate tried to claw him. Jack caught the claw. He twisted. The endurance of a Deathworlder meant Jack didn't get tired. He was just getting started. He grabbed the heavy pirate and slammed him onto the deck, denting the floor plates. The leader, terrified by the soft-skinned demon that moved like lightning and hit like a meteor, turned to run. Jack picked up a heavy cargo crate, something that required a forklift for the aliens, and threw it. It struck the leader with the force of a truck. Silence returned to the bridge. Jack stood there, chest heaving, steam rising from his overheated skin. Blood dripped from his knuckles, alien blood. He turned to Zalara. The crew flinched. They saw a monster. Jack wiped his mouth. The adrenaline faded. "Everyone okay?" he asked, his voice returning to normal. "Sorry about the mess. I'll help clean up." Zalara looked at the destroyed pirates. Then at Jack. You broke them," she whispered. "With your bare hands." "Gravity was on my side," Jack shrugged. Jack Miller was dropped off at the nearest Federation outpost. The report Captain Zalara filed changed galactic law forever. Earth was reclassified. It was no longer just a hazard zone. It was designated as a Class 5 warrior cradle. The aliens learned a valuable lesson that day. The universe is dark and full of terrors. But the scariest thing in the dark isn't the one with claws or fangs. It's the persistence hunter from Sol 3. The one that drinks poison for breakfast and thinks gravity is just a suggestion. Humans are space orcs. And we are here to stay. This has been Apex Sci-Fi. If you enjoyed this story, smash that like button, show the algorithm some human strength. Check out the video on your screen now for more tales from the void. I'll see you in the next transmission. End of recording.